All right, Islam, and welcome to Sisters Standing on Law. This is your host, Anita Ill, along with RVBey.
Islam, peace and love to all. Good to be here this Sunday.
Islam. Oh, yes. So I just had to play that little blurb there. Well, almost, I guess, quite a bit of that song because, tonight's broadcast, or today's broadcast, I should say, it is entitled, Get This into the Young and the Yet Unborn at All Costs. Say that again. Get this into the young and the yet unborn at all costs. It should also have been said, now can you handle this? Because what we're going to talk about today, it is very, it's not new, it's not revolutionary. It actually is true to nature, and others before me have talked about it, and it is written about extensively. It's just that, a lot of times we're not going to encounter, read, or investigate this type of a thinking because it's not comfortable for us, or it's not something that we want to contemplate letting go of. Can be a challenge because of that. And that's, it's these types of reasons why our people specifically, we're missing great bodies of information because we don't know how to read things and really evaluate it and apply it to today and the future generation. And generally, when we talk about the future generation, we're talking about the third and the fourth generation. We're not talking about the generation that's, kicking it right now, or the generation after that one, or the generation that might come after that one. We're talking about literally the third and the fourth generation, and that is what we are supposed to be making sacrifice. Think about nationality and birthright and in being in harmony with nature. It is about putting things back in its natural place. And so we have to think about these things. Can you hear me all right?
Can hear you fine.
Oh, okay, all right. I heard like this little voice, and I was like, okay, did my mic go off again? All right. So anyway, let me continue because this is a deep subject. Before I start, I want to make a few announcements. First of all, we broadcast Moorish Heritage and History School, MHHS Eyes Wide Open. We have at least 2 broadcasts that go out every week. And it has come to our attention that there are those who are publishing, downloading from the MHHS Blog Talk Radio platform, and they are posting it on their YouTube page. Now, I was not aware of this, but what it does do for us is it drastically, we don't have any more statistical data. So, our data, our statistics in terms of who is listening has demised. Our numbers severely compromised, and in some cases, people don't even know this is Moorish Heritage and History School, MHHS Eyes Wide Open. And for those of you who may not have put that together, MHHS stands for Moorish Heritage and History School. And the radio portion is MHHS Eyes Wide Open. So people are putting it on their YouTube pages, and I just want to say, we broadcast information to get out, but for me, it would have been nice to first have been asked. But we don't have any statistical data anymore. And on top of that, they are telling people to contact someone other than us regarding our broadcast. So going forward, at various portions of our broadcast, we will be making the announcements. This is Moorish Heritage, this is MHHS Eyes Wide Open, Moorish Heritage and History School. If you have our broadcast, please send an email to MHHS Eyes Wide Open @gmail.com. That is questions about the broadcast, not questions about the ceiling, not for questions about the national identification card, not questions about how to fill out anything, how to do it, questions specific to the broadcast. All right?
And I need to add, and it's interesting because this is why people, this could be a reason why people, for instance, if we made it so that you'd have to pay to download it, now it would change the whole thing. It would affect and what we do for the people for this broadcast. It's free, and some people are actually downloading it and making people pay, which is disgusting. But if we started saying, all right, no problem, what we're going to do is we're going to make it so you have to pay to download it, well, that would stop the people who are downloading it, putting it on their site, and causing another problem by, and then sending people to other places regarding the fact that this is our work, this is what we put out. You see, so this is why our people, when we talk about, unity, boy, did I learn lessons about unity and what it really is. But this is why we have these problems and why, because just what you said, not only are they downloading it, putting it on there, then referring people to other places for questions about it, not mentioning, you know what I'm saying? It's really uncool. So for our people, when they do that, without any consideration or any, it's really not good. So that would cause a problem if we made it that they had to pay, not because we needed to have it for people to pay, but because of this, and because now we don't have the ratings because everybody, as soon as we do the show, they put it on their thing. Some make people pay, others don't, and then they have the audacity to tell people to go somewhere else if they have questions regarding the free broadcast that we just did. And now to see that because they're not coming to the source of the broadcast, although we're providing it for free. They're going somewhere else. It's making it for our numbers look like we don't have anyone listening, or pulling the archive.
Well, actually, we do. But here's what's really sad is, in the North American continent specifically, our numbers are they're moving at a snail pace. However, around the world, we're still getting statistical data from Moors around the world who are listening. But the statistics is not just how many people view. We have a broad statistical data that we pay to get. Not only do we pay to get that, we pay for these broadcasts and for somebody to take it for free and then put it on their YouTube site for free and then refer them somewhere else. That is infiltration.
Actually, it is.
That's infiltration.
Yep.
That's all. That's what it is now. And I'm not. I want people to get that. Our intent for doing this was for people to get this information and stay up to date as much as possible, and more than anything, to have information to think so that they can make appropriate decisions based on the information that is out there that they may not be able to access, because gathering information is not the easiest thing, and it's not everyone's forte. So we make that possible, and that's why. And because we are about uplifting fallen humanity, we don't make it so that people have to pay to download other broadcasts. The other people who are doing broadcasts, they may do that, but we don't, because our sole purpose for being here is uplifting fallen humanity.
Right.
Which brings us into, you got to know exactly who fallen humanity is. So my next announcement is, tonight's broadcast is a doozy. It is geared for the sisters. We do not leave out the sons, because you need to understand this. Body needs to understand this. Everybody needs to understand what is and what is not. Because everything that we have been told that is normal is not normal. No. It is only accepted because so many people are experiencing it, but it is not normal. For example, like the way that we eat food. People say, "Oh, it's normal to eat meat." The negative aspect of that plays out in the breakdown and the degenerating of our body. That's where it plays out, because the body is designed to go on forever, and if it's not doing that, it's because we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So these things we have been spoon-fed over a couple hundred years, short amount of time, misinformation that we must set aside if we truly want to right unnaturalness that we engage in. And the unnaturalness is across the board. It goes into many different arenas. It goes into our food. It goes into our health. It goes into the interactions that we have with one another, and the biggest problem, what we think of mother. So I'm going to jump right into today's broadcast, which is get this into the young and yet unborn at all costs. And when I got this I thought of my my daughters. They're tough, and they made it through the craziness of young youth and young womanhood. But when I look at granddaughters and grandnieces and newborn daughters and of myself and others, I am absolutely fearful knowing what I know. And I felt like we needed to talk about this. Mothers, we need to think about this. We need to talk about this because we are participating in the destruction of mother because we go along with this promoting. And as I say certain things, women, Asiatic mothers, as well as the modern European daughters, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
They may know, sister. I just got to tell you, they know what you're talking about when you say it. It permeates throughout the entire bones and body, but then they still do something adverse to it.
Yeah, exactly. They know in their heart,
from the conditioning,
from their experience, but the mental instability that comes with this act creates a disconnect that many never overcome. Never. And I actually, it is. And I actually, when my mother started to decline, and she got sick. One of the things that people don't realize is when you start to decline, they say, oh, you're experiencing Alzheimer's and dementia. That is when you start talking and you find things out. Things that nobody ever talks about. That's when you find it out. And if you ever given the opportunity to sit with an elder mother as she is in the process of transitioning, it could be days, it could be months, she's going to start telling you some stuff, and you're going to realize why your relationship with that mother was the way it was. And if you feel the way I felt, you're going to feel like, oh, my God, I wish we wasted so much time because nobody wanted to talk about this. Meanwhile, it was tearing this mother up to the point where she was incoherent. And today, many mothers, many daughters, we don't have a good relationship because your mother has already experienced what you're walking into, and she has been psychologically damaged, and she can't even formulate words to express the trauma that she went through. And she will start cursing and carrying on and talking crazy. And that is exactly what you will think is going on. You will say, oh, she's just crazy. She's talking crazy. No, she has been psychologically damaged because we as mothers have been conditioned to believe that something that is not natural is natural. And we participate in it, and it damages us.
Can I add, too, about dementia, just real quick? Because you just said, oh, no, they're just talking crazy. So they've labeled this thing that you're supposed to just ignore called dementia. When the truth of it is that when people are there's all dimensions all around you, and when people are transitioning, they actually are in one of those dimensions that is very real. Very real. And it's just like if you want to meditate or whatever like that, your mind goes wherever and you receive stuff. So don't let them fool you with saying, oh, they're in dementia, and there's a problem with that, or don't pay attention. Pay attention. Islam, I just want to add that.
And that's something else to look up. Look up the word. Do the etymology on dementia. Dementia. All right? So, get this into the young and the yet unborn at all costs. Who do you think Nobuju Ali is talking to and about? Many prophets of the past came and delivered, or they attempted to deliver. This same message. The young and the unborn is the mothers, the daughters, the young females. Why? Because we must get it into the young mothers that the act of sex is abnormal and an abomination, and it is designed to destroy the family, the true family. Now, you got to know that the true family is mother and son. That's it. That's all. There is nothing else. There is no mother and father. There is no children. There is no son. There's just mother. There's really no daughter. There is a mother and there is a son. The only
Those are just titles.
The only place where the daughter comes into play is the modern European is the daughter, because she can never be mother. It doesn't matter if the mother is your biological mother, the woman that you are cohabitating with, the aunt, the sister, the child of the mother that you may be claiming as your daughter. That is, it doesn't matter where she falls, she's always mother. Now, can you handle this truth? Can you handle it? Because there's more to come. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say this is not an attack on the son. This is not an attack on the mother. This is for us to be clear on, because as long as we participate in mother being psychologically damaged, everything that comes out of her will be psychologically damaged. And this is key. Let me continue. Think about this. Ask yourself, wrong. The concept of boy meets girl and girl meets boy is promoted. There are so many scenarios of this. And they're supposed to live together in a house with a white picket fence with 2.1 children and a dog. How do you have 2.1 children? And Noble Drew Ali said, do not have a dog in your house. They portray this in almost all the Disney movies. Didn't know Disney was amazing. So he's subliminally, mentally programming the future mothers. These dramas, they're not for the son, but they really are, if you think about this. But they're not. They're not geared towards the son. They're not for the son. They are for the mothers, all Asiatic females of all ages. Why? Because they are mentally conditioned to pine away for this. And we have no idea what we are pining away for a moment. When has this modern system that is in place and has been in place for eons of time ever heavily promoted anything that was for the upliftment of fallen humanity? Her. When? They've never done this. The reason that they have never done this is because if she wakes up, do you know how much immediately gets in order? It is like dominoes falling once she wakes up. This is why Noble Drew Ali said when she wakes up, the great meeting is on. The great meeting could be translated to the great correction, because she will then begin to put everything in harmony. Again, I'm going to ask this question. When has this modern system that is in place ever heavily promoted anything that was for the upliftment of fallen humanity? Her. Now, I know I hear some people say, I told you, M.E. don't like men. She don't like men. She got a problem with the brothers. I don't have a problem with the brothers. And I know who the man is. You know, it's crazy because when you listen to these songs now and you know who man is, the message changes. Like the song that we ended with, Can You Handle It? You made a fool out of me. Now, when I first heard that, I thought it was talking about guy. But the writer of this song, he was no sleeping person. He was very much awake. If you listen to some of the songs, when you know who is who in the songs, you see exactly what they're trying to say. So they are promoting the abnormal act of sex because once it occurs, mothers, y'all going to know when I say this, once it occurs, the mother has henceforth been psychologically damaged, and anything that comes out of her will be damaged. Now, mothers, you're going to know what I'm saying when I say that, because if you recall, mothers, there are certain things and behaviors and whatever that you would never, ever consent to before the traumatizing act of sex, which is really rape. You would never consent to it. But after the act of sex, which is really rape, we're consenting to all manner of things. And nowadays you can turn on the TV and women are telling you as if it is a joke. They have been psychologically damaged through this act of sex, which we've all been conditioned to think is normal. But think for a minute. I'm going to continue on this. Think for a minute. Mothers, I'm going to continue. I want everyone to reflect on your immediate thoughts after I said what I said. Many females will say, girl, I can't go without my sex. Translation, I can't go without being raped. And then you might have some sons who will say things like, it's not worth living if I can't have sex. I have heard guys say that. Translation, it's not worth living if I cannot rape a woman every now and then. See, when we put things in the proper context as to how it began, you got to know how this whole act of sex began, because it didn't begin except through the act of rape. And read, and you will see. All right? So if this thinking of the mother and the son is not psychologically damaged people, I don't know what is. Now, you might say, well, sons don't say that. They don't think that. Yes, you do. Because most guys, and I would even venture to say right now, every son that is listening to this broadcast right now is probably thinking, oh, she done lost her mind. What she mean? No, that nothing good comes from the act of sex, which has its beginning in rape. Mothers throughout time had to have been mentally damaged to, over time, translate rape to mean love. And see, I know that many women, they in their mind think, well, if I give into this act of sex, he will love me. And there are many guys who are on record as saying, I will tell her anything. Even I love her to get into her pants. So you have serious psychological damaging on both sides. It does not help with uplifting falling humanity. It helps to keep falling humanity down. But you have to understand who is fallen humanity. Now, this is more for the mothers than anyone else. Not to leave you sons out, but you're not going to get this because you don't have a womb and you don't have a vagina. Women know that once you have been raped, you will have so many problems. That's also the consensual rape that is called sex or love or, whatever you want to call it. You will have so many problems. You will have infection after infection after infection. You will develop abnormalities of the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, the uterus, the vaginal opening alone can be severely damaged to the point where it no longer closes, which results in what is called a prolapsed uterus. What is this, you may ask? It is when the uterus begins to slip out of the vaginal opening. And you will either have to have surgery to hinge it back and remove. Now, all of this is because of this act of sex, which begs to, tells you something about why does it have such a negative effect, and why does it only affect the mother? I'm going to flip it in a minute because, I'm going to flip this in a minute, but let me continue on. How many women have had to have a total hysterectomy because of this act of being damaging to the female, which is why everybody can accept it? Because it is an attack of mother. How many women have contracted various diseases as a result of sex? You don't have these issues if you are not being raped / having sex. Our young mothers, our babies, to go through this same process. And you got a whole medical industry that has opened up as a result of this abnormal act. Thousands of years ago, we didn't need GYN doctors. We didn't even need OB. We didn't need the OB or GYN doctor. And the crazy thing is you will go to these GYN doctors, and they will never tell you this is an abnormal act and that's why these things are happening to you. They're never going to tell you that. You know why? Because it is degradation of the mother. Everybody is profiting off of mother in every capacity. Why? And these are the things that every prophet has come to bring to our consciousness. Wake up. Look at what is going on. Is it really assisting in uplifting, forming humanity? In nature, there is no such thing as disease. So if there is disease in us and we are of nature, we've got to be doing something abnormal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The fact that we are leading our baby girls into the same psychological damaging is genocide. And we are inflicting it on the next generation and future generations. Guide the sky as love. That is absolute mental and emotional damage. Now, there's a movie that kind of points out the clear damaging of the act of sex. And it is a movie that, believe it or not, I was only able to watch one time because I felt it in my soul for every single female that was portrayed in that movie now. And some people may poo-poo, and some people may have said, I don't like that movie. But look, the reason you don't like it is because it was so real. It was telling you something that was so absolutely real that you couldn't take it. And you would say, oh, I don't like that movie. But watch it again with this standing with this kind of comprehension. The movie is called For Colored Girls. Now, what's crazy is that when I was a young girl, I happened to find that book. It's written by a sister. The full title is called, oh my gosh, for colored girls. For colored girls who considered suicide when the rainbow is not enough. I saw the play as a young girl. I saw the play. Yes. 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 Now, and listen to the
Well,
title.
repeat that. Repeat that, the title, because that was deep. In fact, when we were young, we might not have got it.
And you know what? And I still have the book. I still have the book
All right.
when I was a little girl. When the movie came out, I went into my storage, and I found the book, and I pulled it out. And you know what? I read it, and I have to say that Tyler Perry, he did an excellent job with bringing the poetry of the sisters to life.
Mm-hmm.
He really, because that is telling you how mothers are preyed upon by everyone.
But before you go on, I want to repeat the title again, and then you can see in it. And it's not so much that they're preyed. Wait a minute, before you do, it's not so much that they're preyed upon. It's they're preyed upon because they have this pie in the sky dream. That's the rainbow when he says rainbow. And find that the bull crap that they propagandized and taught and told is not enough because it's bull crap, propaganda, and conditioned. So it's not contemplated, considered. So let's do the title again. For colored girls who have considered suicide.
Who consider suicide when the rainbow is not.
The rainbow is not enough. There you go. All right, think about that, you guys, for a second.
Yes. Now, and you have to think about it. Why would she be contemplating suicide? Well,
there you go.
Did you watch For Colored Girls?
Mm-hmm.
You had the mother who loved this son, but he was psychologically damaged. And he had
guys don't like to admit that they're
baby.
Psychologically damaged.
Everybody's psychologically damaged to some degree or another, and we need to recognize that. We really do, because look, everybody is psychologically damaged. Everybody, because all came out of a mother that had been raped. So we all are psychologically damaged, because if she has been psychologically damaged, everything that comes out of her is psychologically damaged. Now, I know I hear some cackling of, well, she can't have no babies without me. Listen to what you just said. She can't have no babies unless you rape her. Where in nature is that correct? Really, really. I'm going to touch on the nature portion of it in a second, but I want to just, in the movie Lucy, I know a lot of people miss this. It's right at the beginning. Morgan Freeman. He dropped a bomb right at the beginning. I know a lot of people missed it. He said that when mother is not safe,
traumatized,
she goes into immortality mode, and she will not reproduce or produce. Will reproduce. Let me put it that way. When she is safe, when she feels safe, that is when she will reproduce. Now, when I said that to a sister, and she said, well, she's not reproducing. And I had to think for a minute, and she was right, because for mother to reproduce, she would have to reproduce herself. You see? So now, if she doesn't produce a daughter, then we are slowly moving to extinction. And this, the modern Europeans are planning. That's why they promote this abnormal abomination called sex, which is really rape. Now, does that mean she can't produce? Yeah. Oh, okay, science has already affirmed that she can reproduce. But right now, mothers, sisters, ask yourself, do you feel safe? I don't feel safe. We should not be reproducing, and we're not. We should not be reproducing. We should not be producing. And if we are producing, well, actually, we're not reproducing, but look what we are producing. We're not reproducing, which means duplicating ourselves, but we are producing something. Look at what we are producing.
extinction is what we're producing. The extinction. That's what we're producing.
We are slowly moving towards extinction, right? Now, when you look at, I have done extensive reading. Look, I just didn't come into this information just reading today or yesterday. Or I didn't start my reading in 2008. To be honest with you, I have to say I was absolutely divinely prepared and moved into where I am because years ago, I read scientific books about how mothers, when they do engage in this abnormal act, to use their inherent powers.
That's right. That's
now,
right. Let me interject. Let me interject real quick, just to follow you. When a woman goes on what they call menopause, when they go on what they call menopause, where menopause, that means children from being produced from their womb. When that happens, they are automatically more in tune in many ways. Mm-hmm. But what they do is give you some drugs to keep that suppressed. All right?
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that.
That's right.
The statement is
That's
correct.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. Now, women who go through this thing that they call menopause, when you get into that phase, your mind becomes a little bit clearer. Over time, it gets clearer and clearer. Now, two things can happen. Because once you stop with the trauma of the rape, which people call sex, making love, that's some bull crap, okay? When did rape become making love? I mean, we had to have been truly twisted. No, let me not say twisted. Psychologically damaged to transition rape into making love. But women do that even today. They will say things. They will allow a man, a son, to use them abnormal sexual manner in the worst way. But because they have been psychologically damaged, in their minds, they will say things like, well, my man loves me. See, he's having sex with me every night. Translation, my man loves me because he rapes me every night. If we go back, some of the songs of the one of my favorite entertainers, musicians, Billie Holiday, and when I read her story, I saw how this woman was an amazement. She was gifted and she was raped when she was a young girl by a guy who followed her home, drunk, followed her home. A lot of people don't know this story. That traumatized her for the rest of her life. And she was an amazing woman. And every mate that came into her life saw that she had this light, and they used her, never helping to wake her up. And if you listen to some of her songs, she will sing about how my man loves me, but he beats me too. But he loves me. Now, back in I want to say, I think it was the 40s, 50s, women would always sing about how their man used to whoop their foolish ass, raping them at the same time, but he loves them. That's psychological damage. And they would go dark. Now, I worked in a battered women's shelter.
Me too.
I barely lasted a year because I got out of a battered situation without knowing that there was this type of help out there. These women had all kinds of assistance. and they would come there literally broken. They babies too sometimes. They would go there and get fixed up, and they couldn't wait to get back to the very person that was breaking them up. Now, I'm not saying this to attack the son, because the sons are psychologically damaged as well. That's why you're doing this.
Thank you. Can I add? Can I add before you move on? I also worked at a women's battered shelter. However, I wasn't in a battered relationship, but I was younger, and it helped me to when I worked there. You as young women, you think you got a lot of issues or problems or whatever. It showed me you don't have any until you have this issue, where you're going to be beat on, and then they're going to save you, bring you into a shelter, feed you, and all that. Even set you up with getting your own apartment and paying for it, wherein you're so used to being controlled by the husband or the maid or whatever that you don't even know how to set up. Like some of them wouldn't even let them go to wouldn't control the women so much they didn't even know how to go to the market. They always took them everywhere in security. So I say that to say that it was an experience to keep me from or to be able to recognize this whole issue. I just wanted to add that. Where you were is these guys do this, and it's true also. They're reading the files and seeing what's going on. They do it because the guys are psychologically damaged. That's where you can pick up from.
That's right, because you came from a woman who had been psychologically damaged. That's why, we are all psychologically damaged.
But no one seemed to put the guys in check. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like the women had to suffer that, over and over again. If it was your wife. They used to think that the women were property of the male. And I just wanted to I do trust that part of this presentation, you are going to give that information about marriages and on what the wingman and what the best man and all that. I do know that that's part of your presentation.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
all right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, I want to say this. When I was never in actually, my reason for coming to the battered women's shelter was because I had gotten through a time in my life, and I wanted to share it with other women who were in that process. And so it just so happens I was led to a woman who ran the battered women's shelter, and she asked me.
And they hired you. They hired you because you were so great.
No.
They said, "Oh, please, would you work here?" Yeah, that's what happened.
That's how I got. That's how I got to the shelter. We are all psychologically damaged, and everything that they promote for us is absolutely for the destruction of the family. It is not. And so I'm so glad you reminded me of that. This whole thing that we sign up for called marriage, it is so abnormal, and it plays us once again. I actually went and Googled. I was Googling, how did this whole marriage thing begin? And I came across truth regarding marriage that would shock you. Now, I hope I can remember them all. The first one was the best man. Now, most people think that the best man is the brother or the best friend of the groom. But the truth of the best man is the son. The son would kidnap a woman from another family because he said he set his eye on her and he was going to have her. And so he would kidnap her. The best man's job was to be the best fighter, because if her family got to them before she was forced to marry, because, you know, if you go back into the archives, you'll find that they didn't need for her to say, I do. And in some cases, they would force her at knife point or threat to her family for her to say, I do. Or, some people don't even know this, they would send in what was called a proxy to speak on her behalf. Of course, it didn't come from her family. Sometimes it came from her family. Sometimes it was just somebody of the so-called groom that was going to stand in and speak for her and down mother and keeping her down. So best man, his job was, he had to be the best fighter. That's why he was called the best sword.
He had to be the best swordsman at that time.
He had to be the best swordsman. He had to be best swordsman, best fighter. His job was to make sure and hold everybody off. So that's why he was the best man. Now, the honeymoon.
Yes, that was
not
in the ring.
You get together and learn, you know, get comfortable with one another. The honeymoon was you was hiding out for a week or two, sometimes a month, because you just kidnapped some nobleman's daughter. And they was on the hunt for you. What happened is, if they caught you and she had not gotten pregnant, then, you know, they might take her back. They might kill her and you. Cause see,
if she was defiled, that's where the defiling came from. If she was defiled by the kidnapping and rape, right?
Right. So now, if she was pregnant, then it would be the two fathers of the two families fighting over her eggs, which we still have today.
Sure do.
And she would live only long enough to give birth to that child, and then she would be killed because she was defiled. This is the truth. The bridesmaid. Before I say the bridesmaid, let me tell you, the wedding gown was not historically white. One of the modern Europeans that's sitting on the British throne, Elizabeth, Victoria, one of them, they changed it to white. It was red. Now, they had many bridesmaids in multicolored gowns, so that if somebody should be coming to take the bride, they wouldn't be able to determine which one of the many multicolored dressed females was the bride. And last, the ring. Everybody thinks that the ring was a symbol of unity. Originally, the ring was a sign of slavery. If you was married, you were considered the slave of some son.
Wow. And wait, hold on. Let's simmer in that for a second. So the ring originally meant that you, the woman, was a slave to the guy who usually kidnapped her. Let's put this in order. Took her on a honeymoon, hiding her away so that her family wouldn't try to find her, with the best man, who's the best swordsman, watching the door and shit to make sure, right?
That's right.
And so now today, we not only do we exchange ring, we flip that. We can't wait.
Originally, the son never had a ring. It was just the woman.
That's right, because he's just a woman. And we died to get a ring.
Modern stuff. Yep.
Yes. And now, hold on now, legally. Now, that's true story behind the marriage, the honeymoon, the bridesmaids, the groom, and the ring, saying you're a slave. Now, honeymoon, hiding you out to hope that your family don't find you while they rape you, basically, because they kidnapped and raped you. And we, to this day, desire to do that, the flip. But legally, when the marriage code came in, and the marriage, quote-unquote, license, and everybody ought to know this now because we have an article on the site, on the Returning the Matriarch page about marriage. Legally, they took all of that and they freaking legalized it, and you think it's lawful. No. And even in breaking down the legalized, that came from the Magna Carta of the white, quote-unquote, white supremacy society, and they was trying to keep they was trying to keep the Moorish sons specifically from marrying into their daughters. So the least, even though, you know, they're the ones who was raping these women and stealing the Moabites and anyone else. But imagine that this is the source, and the energy of that source does not change. Now they legalized it, and you think it's lawful. Ain't that something?
That's right. That's right. And you had the so-called the same-sex people. They just got the privilege of having matching slave rings. Oh my gosh! If that's not crazy, I don't know what is.
Can I add that? So with that, what you just said with same-sex, quote-unquote, marriage and the license, you know, the new slaves really, who are outside of nature and law in terms of law, you know, because that marriage license is not lawful at all. And you know the history of it. So I guess maybe the women started getting hip and they're like, the women aren't acting right. We're going to marry each other. And then the question to ask, and that could be another class, is so where are they going to get these children from that these same-sex marriages are doing? If that's now you get into this continued unlawful that they call legal family services crap where they're taking your baby and these people are adopting it. And I will add that when you said earlier, we're looking from here to the future. What is the foundation of things and what is being set up for social engineering? They're setting it up for social engineering to take your children, which is why they take them the way they do, and give them to these people, to other families, either to make financial
continue to break down of the family, because the family, listen, the family in this dimension, the family is mother and son. There's nothing else. This misconception of a father, mother is father, mother. This misconception of children and daughter. The only daughter is not even of our family. The daughter is the modern European. That's another family. That's another human family. She's not of the Asiatic family. The daughter is not of the Asiatic family. The only one that is of the Asiatic family is the mother and the Asiatic son. That's it. That's all there is. So now, when we look at the mother in this abnormal act of sex, now, if we scientifically look at the makeup of the mother's body, it is natural for things to come out. It is not natural for things to go in. That you can talk to sons who are straight, so-called straight, you know, they only rape females. They're called straight guys, all right? Many of them will say sex is normal, it's natural, it's part of nature. No, it's not, because it's not natural. The thing that happens with the vagina is things come out. They say that is natural. But if I was to flip it and say, if we was to flip this thing and say, hey, if somebody was shoving something up your anus, would it be natural? You straight guys out there, would it be natural? You would say, hell to the no. Come to women, that's natural. For you, even though scientifically it's not natural. I know when I was a young girl and I, started having this unnatural bleeding, because that's not natural either. The bleeding is not natural. We bleed because we are not consuming the right diet. That's scientific. I found an article years ago where it said that it is not normal for women to bleed. The only reason that women are bleeding is because they are consuming the foods that are not of their body type or our species, and they kind of sort of likened, they showed you where, I want to say it was the ape or the ape. Now, when the ape is when the ape has been captive and fed the same types of food we're eating, she bleeds. The minute she goes back into her natural habitat and she's eating fruits and vegetables, the bleeding stops. Same thing will happen for us. All right? Same. When we get back to our natural diet, which is fruits and vegetables, preferably raw, this bleeding will stop. You will still ovulate, but the bleeding will stop. And that has happened to me. So I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about where were you going? But I can also say that is true because when I changed my diet years ago, I said
I remember. Yeah. I remember where I was going. All right. So now, when I was a young girl, and before I had changed my diet, and I had my menstrual cycle, and I was on the swim team. And I was a tomboy. I was on the swim team, and I had a competition, and and I had my monthly cycle, and I had to use a tampon for the first time. Every woman who has ever done this for the first time knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was the most unnatural feeling, having something going up, because that's not natural. It's natural for things to come out, but not for things to go up, just like the ants. So I say this for us to think about this, because if you've been paying attention, we're coming with, a lot of things are circling around. And that a lot of people, we don't want to talk about this, but this has already been documented. What is happening, what has been happening to the mother, in terms of imposing this abnormal act of sex on her, because the sons have participated, whether they wanted to or not. If you didn't know, just like many of us didn't know. But now that you know, some of us do know, some do know, you have to put things in the proper perspective, and you have to let it go. Because this is what's going to happen, and it's already happening. If you don't let this go, it's going to circle back to you, and it already is. We have a lot of sons out there who are, they don't want to be mother in the closet no more. So now the same abomination that has been visited upon mother is now being visited wholeheartedly outside of the closet on the son. Now, I used to work in a hospital, so I can tell you some stories. It is not normal for things to go up cavities that is only designed for things to come out of. Now, when you go to these institutions, sometimes guys, like I said, I worked in a hospital. Sometimes guys will come in and they have some sort of a problem urinating, but your body is making urine. It is the most uncomfortable feeling to have a full bladder and can't empty it. And so what they will do is they will stick a tube up your up your penis, and even though that is going to give you great relief from your ever-extending bladder, that feeling of the tube going up the penis through the urethra, it is not a pleasing one. But it's like you got to suffer through that to get to the bladder being released. I'm sure there's some guys who are thinking about this and bending over at just the thought of that experience. Now, think how mother feels. And she's told she has to endure this. Mothers, it's just, I was watching a documentary where this young girl, this used to happen across the board. It has changed, not to better our situation, it just makes it different, but it's the same. But you have the father says to the daughter, my father said this to me, I can tell you that. He's going to go find you a husband. You don't have a choice. You're going to supposedly marry that guy. You don't have a choice, because here's the thing. It used to be to refuse to marry was a dishonor to the family. And so if you refuse to marry the man, the guy that your father selected, that dishonor could result in your death. This is how keeping mother asleep is serious. So now if you were forced to agree to something, and what you're agreeing to, you are being forced to agree to being raped every night by this person that your father or the elder male of your family would pick for you. And these types of things happen to this day. And it happens across the board in a lot of different ways. But we don't talk about it. But we have to talk about it. Mothers, as crazy as you may feel, as psychologically damaged as you may be, when you look at your young baby daughter, know that she's going to be going through what you are going through. And you are psychologically damaged because of that. Do you really want that to visit your baby girl or her baby girl? Or how about we just put things back in order and we go into immortality mode until it is once again safe? Because it's not safe now. It doesn't mean that we're going to become extinct, because immortality means you will live, just like it says in the Bible, thousands of years if necessary, but you will live long enough to truly reproduce yourself when we have peace once again. But right now, the last thing that we are living in is peace, which means we're supposed to be in immortality mode. And if we are in immortality mode, we need to look to Amazon warriors. We need to build ourselves up. We need to be able to endure things in terms of, if we have to walk long distance, if we have to protect our family, the original warrior is the mother. That means that mothers, Are you able to protect your family? Because you are the original warriors. But they have us mentally conditioned to be damsels in distress. So we're out of shape. We can't walk very far. We can't run. We can't endure anything. So though we started out as the original warriors, we're no longer warriors. To be honest with you, many of us, we've been whooped. We need to let that go. And we need to rebuild ourselves so that we can build a better tomorrow for the young and the yet unborn. Islam.
Islam, I was on mute. I'm sorry. I was on mute. I apologize. Wow. Wonderful. That is enough information for today. That's great.
Yes, it is. It's
something to think about.
Because we have to think about this because here's what we're looking at. We sons, you are not out of this loop. What I say, I am saying it for mothers and sons. Oh, there's another piece I need to throw on the table here. Sons, you engaging in this act of sex is abnormal for you as well. Think of a newborn baby. That newborn baby is full of so much life and energy. Once you start engaging in this abnormal act of sex, you lose your powers too. What little that you have, you lose it too. Your life gets shortened as well. And you will break down faster than her because you're not the full package. You are part of mother. Mother can reproduce, but you cannot. You are mother in reverse. All right? That means that you are not the full package. So you are going to break down faster than her once you engage in this act as well. Your energy will decrease. You when the what is the word? Degenerative. Your body will degenerate faster than her. Things are not normal. This is not just for mother. It is absolutely for mother because she is bringing. First and foremost, it is for mother. But son, imagine for a minute if you had never engaged in this abnormal act of sex. Imagine what you would be like.
Well, you know what they experience to get them to think into is that, as they get older, and believe me, their vital energy regarding this starts declining, I think, before they're even 30 years old. And then because they miss what really is that we're discussing, they feel as though that, they know that they don't have that same energy. So, and they're wondering why, because see, for them, because of this miseducation of the family and what they're supposed to be doing in terms of protecting the family and et cetera, all they go by is whether or not they still have the vitality for sex. And so what do they do? Oh, they got Viagra and all kinds. There's natural things that you could take, by the way, but they got Viagra and all that to keep them going, because they don't want to get this lesson either. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the reason why they came out with the Viagra is because because this is what was happening, and it's happening across the board. Viagra ain't even doing much to help with this issue. This is nature, really. Either you're gonna correct it, and you're gonna, you're gonna, against you. All right, you're going to have to purge yourself. That means that you will no longer be ejaculating, because that is not normal. Just like it's not normal for the mother to engage in, it is not normal for you to be, pissing away your vital energy, because you are supposed to take that energy and re-energize yourself. But you're not re-energizing yourself. You're literally pissing away your energy, literally pissing away your energy. And because you're pissing away your energy, you are deteriorating. So here's the thing. See, this is a setup, and we have to recognize it for what it is. Please don't get all up in your feelings, because if you do, you're going to sentence yourself to an early death. All right? Modern Europeans, they want you to continue traumatizing the mother, so they make sure that you have this thing called Viagra, so you can continue raping her. Because if you're raping her, she's never going to get it together. And if she doesn't get it together, guess what? Neither will you. So they're helping us to quicken our own demise.
Bingo.
And we have to stop participating in that. We have to stop participating in that. They have us all, Noble Jarvis, he said, draw a circle around your passion and square up your conduct. I watched this series called Buddha, and also, I love the movie Gandhi. Ever since I watched it, both of these people, they stopped engaging their lower self. And both of them lived a very long time. They lived longer than they would have lived if they had continued in the way their life energy. So now think about it. What would our lives have been like if we had never been mentally conditioned to participate in this abnormal act that has us right now? Because I know some of us is sitting here and we are achy and we feel fragile, and and we don't feel like we did when we were 16 or 17 or 18. But maybe if we had not fallen for this particular lie, at 30, 40, 100, 200, we would still feel like we did when we were 16 and 18. Because that's the science. They wouldn't be able to get to us psychologically, mentally, physically, if we had not fallen for this lie. So now that we have a little bit of information, what are we going to do to help the young and the yet unborn? Are we going to be selfish and deprive them of this thing called immortality because we didn't get a chance to experience it? Or are we willing to sacrifice so that they can experience it and we have a brighter, a better future for them? I'm fine not experiencing it. I'm fine sacrificing so that the young and the yet unborn can experience it. Are you? And with that, I yield the floor. And maybe we should take some questions. Hear what some people got to say.
Yes, I think so.
If you would like to comment on tonight or today, tonight on this broadcast, I think I'm going to do. Let's have a group discussion. So everybody who wants to participate, press 1 on your telephone. We're going to unmute everybody, and let's hear what you have to say. Press 1. We only got one person who wants to talk. Comment. All right.
Well, this is a crazy conversation for most people. Remember, they don't know what to say. They got to take this in.
216-374, and we got 510-334. Anyone else, if you want to participate, I'll unmute you as you press 1. So, who would like to kick off this discussion? Oh, and we have 609-880. You are unmuted. 216-374. You're unmuted. 510-334. You are unmuted. 347-447. You are unmuted. Who would like to begin the discussion?
Hello, Mother.
Islam.
Oh. This is Mother Karima. This is Mother Karima. Islam to everyone.
Islam, Sister Karima.
Islam. So, yes, very, very deep subject. I had an experience to sit with the elder Moor, right? And so this brother was speaking with another brother, FOY. And I made the comment, they were saying something, and I made the comment, well, we can recreate without you. And oh boy, the egos went flying. But the elder brother had a knee-jerk reaction, which I don't think he realized what I heard. And his reaction was, well, what are we here for? What is our purpose? And that struck a chord with me. Of course, he went on to, substantiate his claim to why they give us the seed or whatnot, but whatever. But the thing that struck out most to me, that was a genuine response, and I believe, most brothers feel that way. Well, if we can't give you this baby, then what are we here for? They don't know their purpose, and they don't realize why they feel that way, because they've been damaged, because mother's been damaged. We reproduced you, you're damaged, period. So I totally get that, but that was the most honest response I've ever heard. What are we here for, and what is our purpose? So it goes back to the purpose or the purpose of what our sons are here for. If we can ingrain that in them, it's not that we are like degrading or downing any son, period. Just know where we stand with each other, what our purpose is with each other, and move forward, period. And this whole sex and all that thing, they're taught to conquer using that. And that's their strength, that's their everything. They're taught to conquer. And if they can't conquer, they feel less than a man. So if I can't rape you, I'm less of a man, period. And that's just you have so much more value and the only way that they would know that is if mothers teach them and stop allowing them to with this so-called superiority complex come in. I'm the man, I got this. No, you're not. Where you get your testosterone from? Where's most of your DNA coming from? It's from your mother. So who's really the man? If you really knew. And then the elder also was telling me when he was substantiating his claim to why he gives women the seed, he told me to read biology and chemistry again. I said, okay, and I asked him who wrote those books. He told me doctors and most of my Europeans. I said, okay. So I told him I read articles. I pulled up the article on my phone to substantiate what I was saying. Oh, you don't believe what these so-called white people say? And I'm just saying to myself, you just told me to read a white person's book. I said, okay. And I also said, well, the doctors also say that, too, in private. They don't want to say it loudly because they have their practice. Oh, you don't listen to the doctors. You just need to read those books. So there's a disconnect. He didn't even know what he was saying to me because he wouldn't even say that. I just looked at him. At that point, you just yield and say, okay, all right, because I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you. I know what I know, and I hear what you're saying. You don't even know what you're saying. You're trying to conquer. You can't conquer anything about me right now except my mind, so you think, and you couldn't even conquer that. So, and I remember the last broadcast that we had, a brother was on there, and he was saying that sons will support mother whatever she does, right? whatever she does, the son's going to come out and support it. Then that, again, what are we teaching them? Well, how are we teaching them to respond to us, to teach us? If we're teaching them by our behaviors, thoughts, words, and deeds, to yes, come rape me. I'm not a woman if you're not raping me. I'm going to go crazy if I don't get this. Then that's what we're teaching them, and that's what they're going to support. Instead of sons really looking, sons are supposed to be visual. So really looking at the cover of the one-on-one, Prophet Noble Drew Lee is upholding the woman. He's not supporting her while she's leaning. He's holding her. Mother, wake up. Mother, wake up. He's not supporting her in her nonsense, is what I'm saying. And that's where the balance can come in, if you want to put it in that way, right? So no. We don't support nonsense. I don't care where it's coming from. We redirect, right? And with our first principle of love, of course, and justice is needed, but we redirect, And it's like speaking on what you were saying earlier, while mothers sleep, everything's in disarray. So bring it into a common term. When mother go take a nap, or mother go off to work or whatnot, and the children are left home alone, they cut up something fierce until mother wakes up from her nap, right? Or mother comes home from work and reorganizes everything and gets things back in their proper place while she's there. But it needs to be so substantial to where it don't matter if I take a nap, it don't matter if I leave. When I'm away, then it needs to continue to be this way regardless. And that's where we have to get to teaching our young and yet unborn. We're, like you said, we're doing it now for 3 or 4 generations from now, period. And yes, before we engage in any type of physical contact, we are so heightened in our senses. I can attest to that. And then as soon as somebody invade our bodies, we don't feel the same for a long time, if ever. And then you go back into the state of mind of abstaining from those types of physical behaviors, and it literally comes back. You have a heightened sense of smell, of sight, of seeing things, of hearing things that you never heard, seen, or smelled way back since you can remember. You start regressing back into your childhood before you were ever even touched, and you start regrowing, I guess I'm trying to say, those senses again. It's like regenerating nerves, and it's amazing. But yeah, that's I use it for.
Yeah, right. Do we have another?
No, they take, and what she just said, they take pride in that. Yeah, I knocked her out. Yeah, I did this. Yeah, she can't walk for 3 days after I did this. This is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's really terrible
to
think about it. It's really terrible. Yeah. But you know what? I want to comment. I want to say this because a lot of times they like, oh, I don't know. Well, what is my purpose if I'm not engaging in this place? You're not creating anything. Be clear, because science tells us she came with the egg. Just like the chicken laid the egg, she came with the egg. So this misconception that is going on that the son is doing something is false. If you're doing anything, what you're doing is you are overriding her immortality switch.
Right.
And you're forcing her to create something while she's in a state of danger. So that's not good, all right? Because now whatever she creates is going to be, it's going to be it's like when you watch these nature movies and they show you how certain species, they will lay, 1,000 of its species in the hope that 10%, 1 to 10% survive because you have another species that's waiting for that species babies to try and make it to safety, and they'll pick them off, right?
Yeah.
So now we are being this act of sex could be overriding her immortality switch, forcing her to create something that's going to be picked off.
Right.
So that's not a good thing. And the other thing that we need to think about, son, is you haven't even begun to even think what you're here for, because you have been sidetracked into helping to destroy mother. The purity of what you were was taken away almost as soon as it was possible for your purity to be taken away. It was taken away. So we don't even know what you are capable of. You don't even know what your purpose is because you were sidetracked. And how many sons came here, just like mothers? It ain't just the mother that they sidetracked, and it is the son. Neither one of us know our true capabilities because we were all sidetracked, almost from birth.
Right.
It's something to think about. I mean, imagine, and look now, when you start thinking about this, please think out the box. You didn't come here to be no damn doctor. You didn't come here to be no damn attorney. You didn't come here to make no rap music. All right? All of that is bull crap. You came here to do something that nobody even remembers. So, this crap that's going on right now is primitive. You ain't come here to do none of that.
Right.
We came here to let go of all of that so we can move up and evolve by degrees. We can really be challenged. We have yet to be challenged because we were sidetracked. So think about that when you think about what your purpose is, because it ain't nothing what you know.
Right.
So I yield the floor to somebody else would like to comment.
Islam. Any more sisters on the line willing to express some thoughts?
Oh, wait a minute. I have somebody else. 954-400, you are unmuted.
Greetings.
Well, hold on.
I've been following along.
Well, hold on a minute. We were just trying to find out if there were any other sisters on the line that wanted to comment. Oh, wait, I got another one. Call 313-491. You're unmuted. Do we have any other sisters that would like to comment? If not,
please.
Anyone? All righty. Who? Next comment?
Yeah, allow for the brother to go ahead and express his thought.
All righty.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've been listening to this broadcast, and my question is in regards to concepts such as intimacy, tantra, feelings of appreciation when it comes to men gravitating towards the opposite sex, as we see in much of the animal kingdom. What significance does that have to do with what it is that you're sharing here in terms of sexual intercourse?
Well, I'll tell you, because, you have to know that before this was visited on the, what we call mother, it was first visited on the animal. So they are out of order as well. Everything's out of order. Everything is out of order when mother is out of order.
But
I don't really quite understand this question. Are you saying this conversation? What does it have to do with being intimate and in that respect? Because before someone can really be intimate, they have to, well, of course, have knowledge of self and be vulnerable. That's a whole different, like we have a book called The 7 Principles of Love, for real, that we have on the site that can help with that if that's the question you're asking. Because
it just seems to me that what's being said is that sex wasn't a natural process for men and women in terms of men and women coming together procreate in the sense that I guess women always had the capacity to procreate on their own. And when it comes to, I guess, talking about the male's purpose, it just seems to me that what you're saying doesn't seem to be all that natural, or in the sense apparent.
Okay, I'd love to answer this. I know where you are, because believe me, I was speaking about that myself. What we need to qualify this, and besides the factual information, sex. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Women did procreate and create, because she came in with the egg on her own. That's a fact. We're not going to deny that. In my opinion, the sexual act and what we think of it has become an abomination. Now, we can also go back and say that it was never there in the first place for the purposes, for the purpose of what we think it is now. It's void, because you don't need that to have for the woman to create a child or take that egg and go through that process where it just needs electricity. All right, in order to do whatever it does, and split and be there. So that's a fact. So now we're looking at definitely the way sex is looked at and has been propagandized, has been conditioned to enter into our lives as to what it is. It is not what we think it is. It is an abomination, and it is rape. That's what we're saying, because that's how they presented it. Prior to that, if you're talking about intimacy between two bodies and two beings, that's a whole different story, because people can have intimacy without ever having sex.
Right.
See, and we've run away from that. So it's not that we don't appreciate each other in that respect. So, but what you just said is perfect, because it just shows, and it's a good. I'm glad you brought it up. It just shows how much we have brought into the abomination of, the human body, the intimacy, etc., like that. It's been brought into something totally different, and it's absolutely, sex would be rape and an abomination. How we're putting sex in a place where it doesn't belong is really what has happened. That's all that we're clearing up right here. You can accept what we're saying, and you still can get that intimacy that you're talking about, provided you are a vulnerable being in the first place, which is a whole different topic. I suggest, again, you get the book called 7 Principles of Love, and it will help with that portion. But, you just showed exactly the point. It's that well, exactly the point. So we appreciate you for that, brother. Peace and love.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. See, now listen, let me say. And you said, like what? Remember I told you how these people would be like, what you talking about, girl? You don't like guys. It's the perfect example of it. A perfect example of it, because that's what we have been conditioned for. And that's also why, check this out. This is something for brothers to think about too. Or for any of us to think about. You know how that sex has become such so defiled an abomination, or what we call rape, they call sex. But then when a guy meets that right girl that he thinks is the right girl, he's all gentle and soft, and, you know what I mean, like that. But the rest of them, he just screw them and throw them away. Okay, put yourself right there. That shows you right there, right there. There's two separate things. What rape has become or sex has become is not the same as that feeling you have when you quote unquote think you met the right girl. and you treat her bad. There it is.
It's that energy. It's that, like you said, it's a subject for a different day, but it's that energy that's presented that makes it either rape or either energetic exchange, which is what it is, and it's way more than what people think it is. So it's that conquering mindset that's been propagated. So I got to conquer this. I got to write. Like you said, she ain't walked for 3 days, or I got her knocked up or whatever. It's that energy that's behind it that causes the rape. It's the mindset. We can make love, have love, be in love, whatever, or you can rape me, or I can rape you. What are we going to do? It's the energy.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
And you know that's true, because they say, I'll say anything just to get some tonight. And don't care. We'll go home and don't care to see the girl again. That's rape. Best believe it. Best believe it. That's not the vulnerability and the intimacy like the brother was even brought on the line. That's not that. Those two things are two different things. Exactly.
Way two different things. Right.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sorry. No, I get what you're saying now. You're distinguishing rape from that loving form of intercourse. Okay. Because I think
intimacy.
Intimacy.
Yeah, because she had mentioned. Because Sister Anita had mentioned, I guess, it's not natural for something to be stuck up a woman's vagina, so that's what sort of got me confused.
True.
Because
Go back. Go back.
It's not natural.
It's not.
It's not.
Can I ask a question?
It's way more. That's what we're saying. It's way more than what people have been taught.
Let the brother ask the question.
It ain't even got.
Go ahead.
Don't really want to ask a question. I just want to read something from the Super 7.
You can
Chapter
ask the
20.
question.
I have many questions, but I really want to read chapter 20 from the Holy Quran. Yes, Super 7. Holy instructions and warning for all young men.
Yes. Read it,
1.
brother. Read it. Go ahead.
Beware, young man. Beware of all the allurements of wantonness, and let not the harlot tempt thee to excess in her delights. The madness of desire shall defeat its own pursuits, for the blindness of its rage thou shalt rush upon destruction.
Yes.
Now get ready for this one.
That's what it's at.
Therefore, give not up thy heart to her sweet enticements, neither suffer thy soul to be enslaved by her enchanting delusions. Now that correlates to a chapter in the Red Book, The Secret Teachings of the Brotherhood of the East, which is one of the tests that Yahshua had to pass. The fountain of health, which must supply the stream of pleasure, shall quickly be dried up, and every spring of joy shall be exhausted. In the prime of thy life, old age shall overtake thee. The sun shall decline in the morning of thy days. But when virtue and modesty enlighten her charms, this is for you, mothers and sisters, the luster of her beautiful woman, the luster of a beautiful woman is brighter than the stars of heaven, and the influence of her power, it is in vain to resist. The whiteness of her bosom transcends the lily. Her smile is more delicious than a garden of roses. The innocence of her eyes is like that of the turtle. Simplicity and truth dwell in her heart. The kisses of her mouth are sweeter than honey. The perfumes of Arabia breathed from her lips. Shut not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The pursuit of its flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fairest impression impressions. I think that cover intimacy.
You just covered what we said of intimacy and the greater thing that a woman has. And let me comment that when you said the harlot and the enticement, that is the fall of man. Because
thank you very much.
And that's where
Say it again.
Fall. I said you have just described our purpose tonight and showed that what we're saying that the woman is greater for. All right, you just read it from the Circle 7. You just described what we're trying to say is so much more. Now, when he mentioned in there about the harlot, that is a outcome of the fall of man, which is her, the fall of humanity, which is her, because she fell. She's the harlot. All that first part you read, all that craziness, right? And as long, this is why this is sister's class. Thank you, brother. Because as long as she's in that mode and a harlot, what comes out of her and is accepted in society is that negative part that you just read. So the sons are running after the harlot, not the glorious, virtuous woman.
Yeah, you go. See that word? And I want to not to cut you, not to cut your wisdom. I just want to state something for the record, and I think everybody, mothers and sons, especially mothers, need to look up, do the etymology and the word virtue. A quick Google search would bring some very surprising results and give you some information and clarity on what it is she actually needs to regain, to seek, to be in harmony with, to run after, to desire. Because in the VIRTUE, as I was, and this only came to me recently, not that I didn't know it before, but I never really paid attention to it, but it became more prevalent or more dominant in trying to explain something to her sister as we looked up that word, and she is the one who pointed it out to me way down below. If you Google it, Google etymology virtue, VIR stands for man, but everything in archaic speaks to the woman, which is where...
Well, man is the woman. Man is
exactly.
The man is
but
woman.
the virtue stems from her.
Yes.
It comes from her. So the virtues are life, which is what was just explained in the Circle 7. And this was a message for the sons. This is a message for the sons.
also explains it. In the higher self, in this 101, and it's in the Circle 7. It says all that is of the higher self is all that is good and harmony and the virtue of life. See?
There you go.
So you're right. There you go. You are.
You know, there is no mistake in what the Prophet brought for us. You know, are we paying attention? But when I just came into this information, you know, it was made known to me that you only really need two things to save yourself, which is the Circle 7 and the 101s. I never really fully comprehended it. But speaking within context of this subject matter here, on the cover of the 101s, there's a depiction. And that depiction is the son holding the mother up as she's asleep, being the bearer of humanity, which he came forth from. So, I mean, there's only one obligation that a son has, and that is to assist. Because that is what we could do, assist. She is the creator. Everything comes from her. There's the universe. Her title is mother. There's the earth. Her title is mother. There's nature. Her title is mother. Everything is mother, and everything that a son would do in his life is for a woman.
Thank you.
You could,
we like this
only
guy.
be a man if you could acknowledge that fact. Everything you do in your life is for a woman. It may be your mother, it may be your wife, it may be a daughter.
So I got a question for you. Then. You need to be a chapter 2 son, right? And go tell the son, because look how twisted it is. Everything that we're saying here and everything that you said, it's such that the sons are the ones who think that they're the ones that are in control, and the fall of humanity has the women looking and the twist of everything, the marriage we're giving all of this for us to think about as well, whatever he does, that's what it is. No, he has a duty, and you need to recognize when he's not doing that duty. But first, she needs to recognize when she's not on hers, and as a result, to getting into the young means that if she knows, then she automatically, will pass that on. So it's all twisted up now, and dead end because it's not his duty for that. He want to control her.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the ego speaking out, and that's the ego acting out, being that we've been mentally enslaved and indoctrinated under this patriarch form of thinking mentality, and Moorish science, what the prophet brought is to correct that.
Exactly.
There's no shame in it. There is honor in it, because your nobility, like I have a lot of sons walk around calling themselves nobles and whatever the case is. In looking up the word virtue, it speaks directly to nobility. That's where your nobility comes from. That's your heritage. And everything that comes along from there, your customs, your culture, it comes from her. It's just plain and simple. And it's just a matter of connecting the dots and reading to comprehend. Not just to understand, read to comprehend. And our people have a deficiency in that aspect. So, there's no shame in asking for help. I sometimes point it out to people. Me, myself, I still need help with reading and comprehending. I challenge myself on that level. Because I want to fully comprehend. So I would always ask questions, well, why? Why is this way? Why is that? I challenge myself. I was kind of taught and brought up in that, chain of thought. So it's common knowledge. We have a problem with literacy. So each one teach one, each one help one to comprehend, not just to speak because you think you know, because when you think you know, you really don't know. We are finite minds trying to comprehend something that's infinite. And we must acknowledge that. We all must acknowledge that. And just play your position. It's not complicated and it's not difficult for the corruption and commotion that's taking place now amongst the Asiatics and the modern Europeans. Because they are your children. From one mother's breast were we all given suck. This, is like I'm trying to control my emotions right now, because this is a topic that should be on the table every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. Because it's the root.
And you know what? And it would be, but you just can't put it on the table. And this is what we do. We introduce these types of discussions on Sisters Standing on Law. Now, if it picks up on a Tuesday broadcast, that's a great thing. But we always introduce it on Sisters Standing on Law because, we got mothers have to wake up.
I know, and that is the most important.
It should be demonstrated not just only by RVBey applications, though. Not just, but you mothers, you do a great job, by doing it. You demonstrated more than enough because you got your own personal lives. But when you also say that it should be, that's a charge right in itself. Within, because every brother, every man should be, every brother I should say should be doing that.
Every son of man,
putting it out on the table or on their own platform within itself, because I myself, as when the brother just mentioned that reading, he said, it's reading, but sometimes it's not even about reading, it's about demonstrating. You know what I mean? When you look at a mother, when you look at a mother or a elderly mother, or take somebody's grandmother, your own personal grandmother or great grandmother, they may not have read you no story. They might not have read you no book or taught you the law, but they demonstrated the law as far as being a mother by how they handled things, so that was the law. My great grandmother was I don't know what school, what book, whatever she picked up, but by knowing who she was, the aura of who she was, how she conducted herself, how the world, the nature conducted with her. Birds would come up, squirrels would come up and just be there, and just when she would sit on the porch, and it was just by the things she would do. She didn't pick up no medicine. She didn't go to no doctor. She did what she did. I never seen her cook books. She did what she did. You know, I never seen her I never seen her bring a lawyer to anybody. She did what she did. She handled her business, held her property down, handled her business accordingly. So by me knowing I didn't know what she did, I knew that she handled her own business accordingly. So that is I soft law and master. By knowing that, she didn't teach me. She taught me the law by being her, and I went back and did my own adjustments to do the in between. So we all here to do our own in between. So as a son, we are to demonstrate. That's all we can do. Like the brother said, is assist. So that lob up is an assist by demonstrating. So that next brother can keep it up. Mother Anna E said it on one. She said it on the brother broadcast a while back. She said that when you go somewhere, you're not to beat it on nobody's head. You know, you're not to beat it on nobody's head, but you are to be who you are and demonstrate, and somebody will pick it up just by you walking down the street. Just by you, if they do pick up on your feds and ask you a question, so be it. You act accordingly, give them some game, and if they not, people of it, it is what it is. But if they do, if they just see, hey, I saw Moor today. I had that happen to me. A male woman just said, wow, I'm gonna tell my husband I saw Moor today. I was at getting my oil change. Her eyes lit up. She didn't ask me no questions about anything. I didn't say nothing. She just said, wow. And that's just by being demonstrating, and that's all we can do. And some things that we can see is obvious, that is infiltration, because luxury is at hand. So some of our sisters are infiltrators, are the best infiltrators, because nobody can do get down and dirty to a sister like a sister. Brothers can only, brothers can only repeat, but a sister know the in between. She knows she's a sister, so she know what the hurts are. She know how to get deeper and dirtier. So but some sisters get luxury because they do that, and that luxury will meaning however they get it, whatever they is, personal materialistic things or egotistical things or power or whatever, and that hinders. And then with sometimes a sleepy-headed Moor, a male, will follow behind that and be a best man. Will be a best man, and like Mother Anna said, and be the swordsman and protect that luxurious, that egotistical sister that wants that power. So and you can see it as of today. Look, i.e. studs. Look at these, like they quote unquote call them studs, or women who are portraying to be a male to get deeper between a sister, because they are a sister at heart, but they know the cheat codes. But they just they know the cheat codes of a woman, because they are a woman. Yeah. So they gonna give you the imagery of a male. So it's like that's mental illness, because it's and they getting the luxury of having that power. So that's and that is something that as we have as sons, we have to put it on the platform, each individual platform, however it may be. It may not be a broad talk, it may not be, but demonstrating, every brother, every son can demonstrate. Learn yourself, of course, but and demonstrate as whatever you do, because with every industry and every human endeavor we are in, so in every human endeavor, a sister's gonna be there. So you need to demonstrate. So with that, I'll yield the floor. And thank you for the broadcast, mothers, once again.
Yeah, I got to make a comment. He had said that, Islam brother, he had said that he didn't know, the grandmama demonstrated. That's a fact. And he didn't necessarily know all the details of how she did what she did or why she was doing what she did, and that's the same situation now where, the sons of man, who they don't even know, and you and I talked about this, they don't even know all of what is being done or thought to be done or planned to be done to get something done. You know what I mean? They can't, many of them can't even fathom it at all, right? Yes. Because it's not like, it's not like it's a comparison thing like, oh, what did you do today? Because if we were to do that and actually make a comparison, they would lose hands down. But they don't know that because it's never been really done. And we're not trying to do that as a contest. It needs not be a contest. The virtue is man, and the virtuous woman is who she is. And lastly, another, and you may want to make a comment on this, but I got to add this. What the brother was saying, too, in this is, and a question we need to ask, so how do we get, all right, generations show that we get to a point where, when they was talking about the ego of the guy wants him to be in control because he wants to be mother. Let's just put it on the table, but he doesn't even know how she does what she do. How did we get to the point where brothers will actually, the son will actually try to beat a woman? Now I'm saying this because we got to be real that we are coming out of generations and upon generations of men in their effort to control this energy that she has, this virtuous, grand energy that they cannot navigate. They will, in their efforts with their ego, actually beat her physically to keep her in what they call line. That's the result. That's far from what our discussion is today in terms of what it's supposed to be and what the Prophet also said. I wanted to add that. Islam, I yield.
They're right on track. Nothing ain't wrong about what is being said. Everything is correct and exact and right. This is what needs to be on the table and and discussed, and not necessarily for the sons, me being one, but more for the mothers to get the message and wake up. Take your rightful position. There are many sons out here who are willing to stand and sacrifice, or whatever word you could find, assist, propel, hold up. Their birthright. And the birthright comes from the matriarch. End of story. Point blank. There's not more to discuss. This is what women, the womb man, original man, needs to know about herself. Look into that word virtue. Look at the synonyms, the antonyms, all of that good stuff in the English language, and see if that is not you. You be the one to reflect on yourself and see true. You know, the subject matter is really about the fall of woman and the relationship between mother and son, and how it came to be that mother has idolized her son so much that she is now laying down with him.
Wow.
How?
Chapter 1.
How did we get here at this point?
Wow.
Chapter 20 speaks directly to the discharging, the orgasms. I was having an orgasm when the conversation was actually going on. The presentation was being presented. That is a mental orgasm, not a physical one. Where is your mind at? What level? What degree?
Right.
We have to think about these things and reflect on these things. I have no discrepancies of who was here first, who is the original man. Coming into Moorish science, it was made known to me what I have known throughout my life, but really didn't know at the same point in time because I didn't have the information. So now that I have the Moorish science, everything becomes clear. And Moorish science does not stop at Noble Ali. It goes into every philosophy or so-called theology. It's all the same.
The science of the mother. Plain blank. That's all it is.
It's from one source. From one mother's breast were we all given suck. Go back and read chapter 1. Take your time. Break it down. Reflect on every sentence in chapter 1. Because chapter 1 covers all the chapters of the Holy Quran. Surah 7. Other chapters break down the different subject matters, as chapter 20 did for the sons. So you need to focus on chapter 1 and see why it is said that each and every living thing is connected to each and every other living thing.
And you going to gain back what, brother?
Mother.
What did it say? You gain back your heritage and your lost estate.
Your seemingly lost estate.
In a conflict that can't be told in words. And let me just say, I hear you, Loman. And that conflict that can't be told in words is the experience they have to have to accept this truth and drop the ego and put a circle on their passion, square up their conduct, so that they can receive their heritage that comes from their mother. Islam. Go ahead, Loman Hill. I didn't mean to cross.
Oh no. I mean, no. You kind of answered the question with just saying that. Because my question is simply that when you guys speak up on the Amazon woman and how the mother can reproduce or produce on her own, and how the Amazon woman would do that. Now, I might be going a little bit too metaphysical or deep in, but I would think that she would make a son because she would know something was up and something was coming, so someone could be there with her to fight with her, and that would be, and she would not want to reproduce, make another her, because when she produces the male, she takes the male does not have all of the things that she has internally. Not, I mean, like as far as in like physically and internally, like as far as in like maybe, I'm not saying that we don't have emotions, but we think a little bit differently. When we may think a little bit, we may be kind of easier to be like the mothers may say, boys are always getting into something. We got to, at a little age, we might be a little bit more, rougher. So maybe, at a younger age, maybe because we may be geared towards that to protect, as far as physically, and then mentally to strategize, to protect.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
so I'm just asking, is that I don't know, because I don't have any scholarship behind this at all. I'm just asking. So you're
right. You're right. See, Mother knew something was coming down the line. Now, Sister Valera, Queen Valera, as they call her, you see, we did classes with her originally. I did. That's how she came into this. But she knew something was coming down the line to harm. And that's because we'd already done these experiments with beasts. And we put into the laboratory and we mixed the human DNA, if you will, with the animal. So when you look at the chapter, when you look at Circle 7 and it tells you about your higher self and your lower self, that's a reflection. What we created is a reflection of the higher self, quite frankly. So, yes, brother, you're right. She knew something was coming down the line, and this is prior, this is way back. And she created the sun, and here's what you do. The sun was created to do just that, to protect. This is the reason why he has a semblance or replica on his chest of nipples that don't work. Because she created it so that, no, it's real talk, but they don't work. Because he was to be the fighter, the warrior, to protect. Absolutely. That's real. He has a purpose.
That came later.
Hold on. Now, it did come later. But now, he's got these foreigners and this crap teaching him to take the baby from the mother's breast, and he's the parent, or he is his baby. See, it's all twisted. He forgot what he was here for, and therefore we've all forgotten. That's why it's like a mental slavery. And that's what, actually Adam, and it means the rememberer, really. But let's just stay with this. He forgot what he's here for, trying to supplant himself into the job of the mother, because he forgot what he created him for. And once he remembers it, now you get into all that chivalry stuff and all that die on your sword, because a true warrior, which is a son-in-law, all of them think this way. They will, and Annie, we talked about this before, that what their purpose is, they will die on their sword doing it. And you can't take that, they're supposed to, you can't take that mentality into the mentality of what the woman was doing. See, it doesn't mix. So since we've fallen and we've and forgotten the purposes, we're all screwed up here. Islam, I hear.
Yeah, correct is right. That's why the secret teachings of John is something that needs to be read by everyone, especially the mothers and them, so they could get into the message. Get to the source.
If you read the secret teachings of John, and this is why you can't be in your feelings when you get this information, because it was released to correct the misinformation. You have to receive it so that we, especially mothers, you got to receive this. Sons, you got to receive this, because you got to stop participating in the rape of the mother, because that's going to keep her psychologically damaged. And mothers, y'all think that this sex, this making love is natural, it's part of nature, and some of you is like, I can't do without it. Yeah, that's you gotta let that go, because those things were implanted into our cranium so that we continue our own genocide. You can't blame nobody now, because this information was a seal that was released. Now that the seal has been opened and the information has been released, you can't sit there and blame the modern Europeans that we are experiencing. You can't do it anymore because the seal was released. So you have to let it go. Both the mother and the son, you have to let it go. And if you don't, well, read the prophecies and the statements, and you will find out what will happen to you. It's not a threat. It is the end of an era. Right. And you can't stop it. And this mothers and sons, you got to get out of your feelings. Nobody is attacking you when we speak this information, because this piece of information, was released some time ago. How come we only just now getting it?
Right. No apology.
True. We're just now getting it. Look, Noble Drew been gone 100 years. Over, what is it, 100? Almost 100 years. 1929. Right? I think we're coming up. 2019 will be 100 years, right? And this particular piece of information was released before he passed. Why is it that we just now getting it? Let me rephrase it. Why is it that we are able to talk about it? Because this is a great conversation. We don't have nobody, you're just trying to get rid of the son, and we ain't got no mothers tearing off at the son. We're having a wonderful conversation about this. Why is it?
Because mother is teaching it. Because mother is teaching it.
Thank you. That's my point. That is my point. That is my
Mother
point.
is taking the time to recognize herself and the truth about herself.
Yes,
and the deeper teachings.
Exactly. And
bring it to the forefront.
And we introduced it in a non-combative way. We gave so much information. And you know what? There's even more to substantiate the little that I have said here. We really, we got to think about this, mothers and sons. If we stopped participating in this, it means that we're going to have to get fixed, because we are going to have to live longer. That means if we're going to be living longer, we got to start getting in shape and fit now. Because we have to start maintaining that immortality until the peace comes. Now, the peace is in the future. It's today, but it's in our mind. It's already here, really, because there is no time. There's no past. There's no future. There's only now. So that means that the peace that we want is already here. So we need to now embody it. That means that, I just finished watching this series called Buddha. And it was interesting because he let go of a lot of, and the last distraction he let go was food, and he almost died. And then he realized, wait a minute, if I die, then the message I was to bring will never be received. So, you have to think a little common sense. You can't just today, I'm going to stop eating today. You have to work your way. You have to discipline yourself. And so instead of just stop eating, he ate one meal a day, and most of the day, if he did anything, he drank water. But much of his time was spent in meditation. Now, what we don't get about that is it is in the mind, as Lyndon said, chapter 1. It is in the mind that we create, which means we're supposed to be spending all of this energy on physical action. We're supposed to be spending our energy controlling the mind so that we can manifest what we want.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so when we talk about, well, what's my purpose? What am I here for? Well, sit down and meditate. Quiet your mind, because that alone took Buddha many years to get some kind of grip on. And when he mastered it, that's when he transitioned.
Well, the prophet bring that and give it to you in a simple booklet, as if you want to make the choice.
He did. Because everybody's saying, how did Noble Drew Ali was killed? Noble Drew Ali was... No, he wasn't. If Noble Drew Ali, if you understand the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Yahshua, Buddha, Muhammad, all the same people. All the same people. And every last one of them determined one day was going to transition because they had mastered manifestation. You don't transition until you master manifestation. Or, as a prophet, you don't transition. Now, if you transition before you master manifestation, that means that you came here to master certain things, and you mastered those certain things, and you decided to go and transition now. Or you didn't master, and you shortened your lifespan, and maybe next time when you come home, when you come back here, you will have mastered certain things. But, when we have to really step back and look at our lives, because much of our lives, I would say 99.9% of our lives, we haven't even scratched the surface of our capabilities, because we have had so many distractions. We got the distraction of food, we got the distraction of work, we got the distraction of where we're going to live, and we got one of the most destructive distractions, the whole boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, let's get together and have some sex distraction. That is one all of these things, which is why Nobuju Ali said, draw a circle around your passion and square up your conduct. That means, man's business is about reflection. That means you're supposed to step back and evaluate what are these passions you are obsessed with and get a grip of them. And that ain't going to be easy. Because let me tell you, I started mastering this whole, because there's an energy that comes from your first and second chakra, which is the what do you call it? Is not in your genitalia area. There's an energy that comes from there. The base. That's how we call it, the base, because the energy rises from the base. Most of us, we get stuck in the first and second chakra. We don't get past that. First, we don't get to the navel at all. We're stuck in the first and the second chakra because we have been conditioned to wallow in this foolishness. Whereas if we were to abstain from it, I can tell you from my own experience, you will feel that energy start to rise past the second chakra. And it is such a great and powerful energy. You must learn how to harness it, or it will trip you out. One of the ways that I learned, this is why I was able to read a lot of books, because when that energy started rising, I would get the most complicated metaphysical scientific book that would require your entire mind to read and focus on. You have no space to think about nothing else, just your whole brain and your whole mind to grasp what is being said. That was how I was able to discipline that energy, because it will take hold of you, because it is very powerful. And then once you start, when you're able to resist it, then you can mentally visualize pulling it up and out through your crown chakra. And that's a whole other energy that you're going to have to then deal with. As the energy moves through each chakra, you're going to have to learn to deal with it, harness it, to use it, and to, internalize it within you, not to destroy you, but to heal you. The original purpose of that energy, to heal you. So now, we're pissing away, literally pissing away that energy in a destructive manner. So, and where do we get that from? We turn on the TV. It's in our face. We listen to this crap they call music. It's in our ear. We walk down the street. It's in the eyeball. And then, like the brother said, you better believe the biggest infiltrator that's going to come for you is a mate. Because when you get honest, I'll never forget my sister told me years ago when I was trying to find a church to join. This is a long time ago, and she said, now you have to be careful, because as soon as you get clean and with this new religion, you're cleansed, everybody's gonna come for you. Now that scared me, because I literally thought something was gonna come. I'm gonna see these spirits and things coming for me. But really what she was saying is, when you clean your energy, when you clean yourself, your light shines brighter. Everybody is now attracted to you. And if you're a guy and you're trying to maintain a celibate life, all kind of women is going to come for you to try to get you to take away your energy. And if you are a sister and you are trying to be celibate, all kind of guys is going to come for you. And let me show you how I knew this has ever done this. if people find out that you no longer engage in sex, they are all of a sudden interested. They could have been.
Yes, it's a quest. It's a quest. It's a quest. Oh, and I gotta add this astrologically. Yeah. Because again, it's the quest, and the brothers know. Those who know. Oh, did you hit that yet? Oh, did you hit that yet? That is so disrespectful. But
well,
come on, brothers, that's how you rock.
The girls have a similar thing because they're going to teach you how it's really done since you've never had it.
Yeah, I got the real stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to show you how it's really. I'm going to show you how good women treat you.
How it's done.
They have the same kind of mentality, and it's twisted. It's twisted.
Yes, it's very twisted.
Can I just add something?
Well, before you add
interested in you.
Before you add that, brother, I just want to say astrologically, when Anna Eve said, and then everything's going to come for you, and the first thing is that mate. Well, if you look at astrology and you understand the lesson that wheel is teaching you, it says so right there. She's absolutely correct because you are self. We went over that self, and which is the first house, which is ruled by Aries self, and you look 180 degrees from that is the seventh house, which is Libra, which is the house of partners, of which you step into the social arena, and that's the first thing you do. So you're absolutely correct. You get partners. So that translates to self, and all that opposes self is the mates or the partners you choose. I just needed to add that astrologically. I yield.
Well, all I want to throw on the table is this. It's all a fight between mother and herself. She's the one who made the choice. Being inquisitive and being endowed with the knowledge and the power to split that male-female energy that she now has to deal with. And that is her problem that she has to fix, which is why this realm was created for her, a paradise.
Fix it. Absolutely. And she can't go back home. If you read the book of John that you mentioned earlier, brother, it says right there, no. You cannot come back to your original realm, if I'm going to call it realm, until you fix what is lacking, and that's what this earth plane called Terra is that's why we say you got to come through and learn your lessons so that you can become one and become whole again. And that's right in the book of John. So we say to women who want to be lazy, I'm going to say lazy, or who don't want to deal with this, that there is no rest for the weary. And the stuff that you've done has caused a whole lot of weariness, not just for you, but for everything that comes out of you. And so you won't be getting that peace that you think you're going to have and go back home to that your original virtuous self until you fix what is lacking. Brother, I don't think it could have been made more clearer than that, than what the book of John made it very clear.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
And one more thing I want to add.
All right.
One more thing. Before, and it's too...
Before we close out.
We don't have much time. One more thing, quick. I want the mothers and them to pay attention to forgiveness. Allow yourself to forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
Allow yourself to accept your mistake. It's okay.
Not just the mothers, the sons too. Everybody, you need to forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You made some mistakes.
Let's include everybody, but right about now, this is not really about everybody else. My concern is the mothers. Because once they correct themselves,
We can agree to that. We concur. We concur. We do. That's why this is about the justice. You're absolutely correct. Because listen, brother, nothing's going to get fixed. Nothing's going to get fixed until she wakes up. That's right. That's right.
The great meeting. Hello. It's not being taught. It's not being, it's spoken about. The great meeting. What happened to that? Everybody running off with the whatever other pieces of the sciences of life. When it comes to law, the prophet says study. When you would have studied well and asked me what to study next, I would say study yourself. There's nothing else to study after law but your mother.
Well, I got a question for you real quick, and I know Karima has the last comment too, but when you said, and when we have said, and when it is said, it's taken wrong. When you say, okay, mothers, you need to fix this mistake, the first thing the sons go to with their passion is, oh, are you saying we're a mistake? They really need to understand this, to know that they are a variation of her, okay? Don't make that separation, because they think
you're trying to put it in a nice matter. In a nice way.
They are her in reverse. Everything's on them
in reverse. Is what I'm saying. Is they take it personally as if they are a mistake, and that's not what we're saying. Then they get all the pennies get all in a bunch because they're saying, oh, so you're saying we're a mistake, huh? And what we're saying is, no, you came from us. We're your source. So they don't get it and they get offended because they think that we're saying they are a mistake. This thing here is greater than them. You know what I mean? It's greater than all of humanity. Yes, but the
most honorable thing you can be on this planet on this earth is a son. The most honorable thing you can be on this planet on this earth is a male, is an honorable son to assist your mother.
I agree with that.
There's no millionaire, no nothing. That's the only thing you can be. That's right. On it, so if and then you work the details out know yourself and you work the details out. So nobody should be had they boxers in a bunch, because you gotta keep it real and you gotta focus on 21 salute for that. Do something. If you realize that you came here to do something, you gotta do. If you're here to do something, what it is you gotta do. So if you know you're a son. And if you get the simple science of that, you're a son. You came out your mama, and you get the real science that your mother's been betrayed. She's been sick. She's injured right now. So you use your talents. You draw a circle around your passions, and you square up your conduct, and you demonstrate and act accordingly. And that's your story. And that's your story. Anybody can say something, but when you transcend. If the great mother universe, the nature will say, well done, my good,
well done, son. Well done.
You know what I mean? So that's all.
You know what I mean?
That's it. For real.
And listen, thanks for clearing that up. I'm glad that it came right from your mouth, because that's what I was after. It's like, what do you tell these sons so they will stop being so offended when we talk about when you say things like, oh well, mom, fix your mistake. The first thing they think is they are a mistake, and they don't really get what we're saying. But thank you. Right. You just gave them something to think about.
But the truth does sometimes hurt, and it's just the truth. You just got to deal with it, and it needs no apology.
There you go. There you go.
That's right.
Like you state, the nipples or the breasts don't produce milk, and your testicles and your penis is basically an inverted or outverted version of the womb, man. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Plain and simple.
I will say this to you too, and this is the last thing I have to say. I didn't know, and I think Anna E might agree, and many other sisters, that when we got into mothers, when we got into this Moorish information, that it was going to and it takes a process, all boil down to what we're discussing right now. And it is not easy to be. We didn't know that, but guess what? What did you say? The truth is the truth, and it needs no apology. And if you're working with the tools of the workshop of the mind, chapter 5, you take that hammer and you hammer the truth in until it is a part of everything. So we didn't know it. And we realize it now, and we stand as sisters to take whatever hit comes for those who don't understand it and who want to hit at us for it, because we know that this is the only way and that this is the ultimate understanding of the universe and what you call Moor science, of the truth of what has to be done. So we stand strong with it. We good. Islam.
Islam. Islam. And we got the Sister Karima, did you have anything you wanted to say? We got a few minutes before we got to go.
No, ma'am. An amazing show, and I'm glad that we were able to have this discussion.
Yes.
Clear. Hopefully. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we started this show. The title of this broadcast was "This is for the young and the yet unborn," and the last comment was, "Can you handle it?" And thank everybody on this panel for demonstrating, yes, we can handle it. Bring it.
and I realized, Brother Lyndon, I didn't know that was you. Peace and love to you.
Yeah, I love you more.
All right.
That's it. That's all.
Everyone. Peace and love, everyone. And for everyone who will be listening, peace and love to you as well. Again, this is MHHS Eyes Wide Open, Moorish Heritage and History School, presenting Sisters Standing on Law. If you have a question about our broadcast, send your questions to MHHS Eyes Wide Open at gmail.com. Peace and love. See you Tuesday for Principles of Nationality in Action. The thing